Hi, and welcome back to the Industry Training Series. My name is Jacob Robicheau. I'm a junior VMA major here at Emerson College, and today I'm going to be giving you a crash course in the role of the editor. We'll be going over the editor's basic responsibilities, the different hats that they wear, and the relationships they have with the director, and in some cases, their own assistants. Then, I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek into the actual process where you can watch me edit one of my own projects. Let's get right into it. They are put in charge of cutting the film together and either overseeing or directly controlling all the other positions in the post-process. This can include sound designing, color correction, Foley art, VFX, and adding credits, but we'll get more to those later. As for their relationships, the two people they typically work with are the director and the script supervisor. The director, because it's their vision that you're executing and you want them to be a big part of that process, and the scripty because they've been taking notes across the whole production process and keeping track of things like continuity for each take, lighting changes, line flubs from the actors, various audio and visual issues that came up during filming, and any other notes that were made that in the moment that someone wanted written down. This is all imperative to have in the editing room because it is give you a more complete guide to both the director's vision and the circumstances of the footage and audio that you're going to be editing together. Now, without dampening any other aspirations out there, I have to tell you that editing in almost any capacity is one of the most time-consuming processes in filmmaking. But if you can find a way to navigate all the challenges that come with it, you can turn it into a literal haven for the creativity of yourself and your peers. If you want to be an editor, you need to be patient, attentive to detail, organized, and calm under stress. You're going to be spending many hours at a time in a room that's too dark and a chair that squeaks on a desk covered with papers and a computer with 3 different hard drives attached to it, all while on a deadline. So make sure that your organizational skills are fine-tuned, because you're going to need them. Now for equipment, you're going to need a digital editing software, much like Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, or Avid Media Composer, all great examples. And sometimes, if you want to spend more time on the sound design of editing, it's good to have a digital audio workstation, or DAW. And examples like this are Logic Pro, Soundtrap, or Avid Pro Tools. Then, I highly recommend investing in a pair of noise-canceling headphones or earbuds. Sometimes you just can't find a quiet place to work, and you need to be able to hear even the smallest little sounds when editing, and so it'll be well worth the investment. Now for computers, most models of MacBook and other laptops work fine while running any of the programs I just mentioned, but it really depends on the size of the project. If you're working with footage that doesn't really take up more than 5 to 15 gigabytes of storage, any recent laptop model should be fine. But if it's a larger project, say 50, 60, 70, or over 100 gigabytes of storage space, and you know that the runtime is going to ultimately be longer than 30 minutes or even more, then I would really recommend tracking down a full-sized, up-to-date MacBook and just editing on there. It saves you time, reduces your stress, and you just don't have to worry about your own computer having a complete meltdown. Now I'm actually going to give you a look into the process of one of my own projects and just to give you a rundown of what we do as editors. So right now I've got a project going up with a very simple setup. It's from a shoot I did recently, and I'll just be giving you the brief rundowns of how to just assemble a quick shoot. So first you would take your first bit of footage and then sync it with your first bit of audio. And then once that is done, you can take a look at it and make sure it's synced correctly with audio check. Once it's synced, you put it in together. All right, now you have your full complete clip, and then you cut it at the point where the first bit of dialogue is, which I will do right now. Cut, and that would be our first shot. Now, if we wanted to cut to another shot, say an over-the-shoulder shot of one of the actors, because this is a very basic setup, we got 2 people talking to each other, and it's just a tense scene. So I will cut in between by assembling another cut by taking another piece of footage, putting it right next to it, and making that the second shot that we cut to. This is one of the most notable things that you have to know as an editor, is that when someone on set doesn't give you proper sync marks, it is a nightmare trying to figure out how to get the audio and the dialogue synced correctly. And so and then once that is synced, and then once you have that selected, you can cut them together however you choose. It just comes down to what you and the director, and occasionally sometimes the DP, come to a consensus on, and what the scripty notes say in the editing room. But now we can go into the process of coloring. Into that, you would go into the color section of Premiere, and then you would select luminary color, and then a piece of the footage. In doing this, you have so many options to go through. I would just start experimenting with the contrast, exposure, going higher or lower, making shadows more pronounced, making highlights more pronounced, and saturation if you want deeper depth of color. Now, this is almost always a trial and error type situation, so you just have to practice, and make sure that you are able to know what each function does and know what you want to have be seen in your final cut. So if you just take a look at what we have here in the first scene, we have a very basic setup of a colored piece of footage with synced audio. Now there's a lot of other things you can do, like leveling each audio, adding sound effects, adding Foley, and if you want to go even deeper, add your own VFX, but that's a whole nother skill set to worry about. Right here, we just went over the very basics of this program and how to put together a short piece of footage, and at your level, this is the kind of thing that you'd be doing. And just the more you deal with stuff like this, you just keep learning more and more about how to get certain things to work, what you want to see in your project, and what's just going to look best in the final result. And now one final part. Once you have your cut completed, it's time to export. So you would go into the section of your file that says export in the top left, right here. And now there's a few things that you would do. One, you would name your file. I'll just name it the title of this film right here, which is The Orange. Do not question why. And select a location on your computer that you want to locate it to, which is right here. And once that's located, you choose the quality that you want to export it at. I would recommend doing one that is just slightly condensed of what you had, so around 1080 or 2K or whatever just feels right for the project. It varies based on that. And then clicking export. And then doing that, it would take about roughly 10 minutes to do something like this, but that's just expected from this kind of program. And most other programs follow that same rule of thumb of you label your project, choose a place you want to export it, and then the format, and then you just export it. Okay, I know we went over a lot today, and we just barely scratched the surface of this process, but if I can leave you with one final tip, it's this. There is no better teacher than experience. Just get onto a couple of projects with your friends and start editing and learn as you go. Thank you for watching.